G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in over on the northeast side, or rather northwest side of the map, we've got Beastie QT, gonna be playing the Chinese, starting off, opening up a mill on his forward hunt, very close to the front of his base. We are of course playing on Hill and Dale. He is going up against Kelazur, who's going to be playing the Holy Roman Empire. So if you watched the last match, a bit of a mirror going on. Players looking to change around the civilizations that they're playing. So Kelazur going to be on the Holy Roman Empire here. Got a nice little spawn as well here, very close to the front of his base. Going to be very easy for him to keep that part safe. So let's talk a little bit about this and what is happening. So this is part of a show match series. This, of course, is run by Lidicor. If you're unfamiliar with Lidicor, he's a fellow caster. He casted the EGC Genesis, which was the first official S-tier tournament of Age of Empires 4. And he was one of the official casters with me. And so he's also got a YouTube channel and he's hosting this show match up. So I'll leave a link in the description over to his YouTube channel. You can check him out there. And I'll leave links in the description to both of these players. You can see in the top left-hand or top right-hand corner of the screen, rather, that these guys are both very good players. So rank 2 for Beastie QT, Kelazur currently rank 59. Now, if you've been watching these games, you would know that they've been very evenly matched despite a little bit of a discrepancy between their numbers. Very curious as to why he's actually luring up the wolves here. Does he think his enemy is playing Rus? What's going on? Or is he just preparing this? Is he just, you know, looking after this area for a little bit later, inevitably when he comes down here and, you know, doesn't want to forget about those wolves to be distracting or be attacking his villages? Is that what's happening here? Maybe he got the flags confused a little bit. Maybe he's like, I thought it was Rus, but it's actually, well, you know, he's the one playing Chinese, so that doesn't even make sense. I don't know exactly what Beastie's doing, but going to be luring in a couple wolves towards his town center. And I can't help but think that we need to be making more jokes about that. Second IO going to be coming out very early here for Beastie as well. Going to be collecting up the mill tax gold. I do like this second IO. Typically we see an IO coming out a little bit later, so the Imperial official, typically we see it coming out maybe around, you know, after 4 or 5 villages on wood, but, well, I mean, we got 4 villages on wood here, so I guess not. I guess it's not terrible. But yeah, so normally you see it coming out a little bit later, normally because there's a later transition from gold or from food to wood. So normally you see, like, some people have been going up to 10 villages on food before transitioning over to wood. And so it is quite an early IO. 2 minutes 30, going to be able to be picking up all of this tax gold here and avoid not having to supervise. So that is one of the consequences of picking up the tax gold. Obviously, you can't supervise. So we can see right now the tax Imperial official is going to pick up the tax. And during this downtime, there might be villages that drop off any of that food, and any of that food that gets dropped off isn't going to get buffed up. You can see 10, 20, and a little, it's the bug. I hate that bug so damn much, man. So you can see that he's actually had to bring it back over here. The bug just happened again. He tried to supervise it. Oh my god, it's infuriating. I don't know why it occurs or how it occurs, but you can see there's been so much downtime now on the Imperial official. Beastie probably like pulling his hair out at this point. These Imperial officials, okay, finally it's going to do what it's told. God, they are so annoying. I absolutely cannot stand it. So, look, hopefully they fix up those bugs, because if there's one thing I hate playing about the Chinese, it demotivates you. You know, if you're playing up against the Rus and you're playing Chinese, you just know that the Rus player is like sitting there with his deer underneath his town center, you know, clicking a button to like gain himself 150 gold that he bought it with 100 food, and he's like, you know, sitting there drooling over his keyboard. And then here you are, like the big brain China player, having to deal with these bugs. You know, it's difficult. It really is difficult. Obviously, I'm joking. I know you Rus guys take it very seriously. You guys are all high IQ individuals. Calm down, calm down. All the Rus players getting their keyboards out right now. Settle down, fellas, settle down. Hey, I'm a Rus picker as well. That's okay. Mill going to be going down now for Kelazur. Curious to see as to whether he's going to be going for a professional scouts build. He's gathering up a lot of gold here. He's actually looking like he's going to be able to meet it, and the mill going down right on time before that Arcade Chapel is going to be finished as well leads me to believe that he's probably going to be doing it. Only thing to note is that he doesn't actually have any stable up at this point in time, so he may not actually be doing it. But we'll have a look and see whether he looks to transition more villages over towards wood and look to secure that. We'll see exactly how he plays it, or whether he just looks to play a little bit safer. More villagers going to be coming out now. Obviously going to be buffing up a pretty decent Arcane Chapel here. It's going to be reaching the gold, but obviously not hitting the gold mine. And you can see he's actually deleted the lumber camp and going to be putting it a little bit closer to the Arcane Chapel. So, you know, it's not a favorable thing. You don't want to be doing that. To be honest, I just would have gone like maybe Arcane Chapel right here, and then just take this gold mine. That way you get, like, that would be insane, right? The Arkan Chapel right there. Stone, berries, gold, and the lumber camp. I mean, that's pretty decent. So now Arkan Chapel has finished. We've got the prelate inside, going to be buffing everybody up. No professional scouts going to be coming in. So curious to see exactly what playstyle he's going to look for. Going to be scouting out his opponent, checking what Beastie is up to. Beastie already hitting that second age, dropping down his Barbican of the Sun. No professional scouts coming through for him, but a lot of resources in the bank. 7 villagers heading over to Stone as well. So a little bit of a late transition here to Stone. Now, typically you can see town centers for the Chinese going up at about 450 if you optimize it perfectly, but obviously for a situation like this, and now we've got some inefficient tax collection coming out to just collect 6 tax. You hate to see it. You really hate to see it when there's all of these beautiful villagers over here, 12 villagers on food at the moment, gathering up, and you just know he's probably told this one to come out here and supervise. All right, fortunately he's going to do it, so I don't have to rage at it for him, but going to be looking to drop down that second town center in this matchup. And once again, you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about how this sort of plays into what China, or this plays into what the Holy Roman Empire rather wants to be doing, as they are dropping down that stable, and we do see professional scouts going to come out for him. So I think he's probably spotted the Beastie was heavily on Stone, so he's like, you know what, I'm just going to steal up the deer. That is absolutely fine. And he's going to be happy, you know, just taking this one hunt and securing the other 2 for himself. He's going to be very happy with that. So the Holy Roman Empire typically are a civilization that wants to get up to Imperial quickly. And the Chinese are a civilization that is normally not necessarily happy to let them, but doesn't really have a choice when it comes to that. So typically, China, they're a little bit slower to get off the mark, I guess is probably the best way to say it. They want to be going for a second town center. They want to be going for that dynasty. They want to try and get a villager lead, but then that sort of feeds into the Holy Roman Empire playstyle here of looking to get up to that next age super quick. And so I'm curious as to what we're going to see unfold here. Obviously, he's looking to go up to the castle age. He's managed to secure up that professional scouts. He's going to look at bringing in those deer in now, and Beastie's going to spot that out. So he could potentially look to come down here and even wall in his own hunt just to prevent his opponent from taking it. That is something that we have seen players begin to do. Now, one of the things to note, Beastie is definitely optimized this build order, and he's looking to head up towards the 3rd age. You can see he's heavily right now on gold. So really thinking about getting up to that 3rd age himself, and at the same time actually going to be dropping down the Imperial Academy, so going for a dynasty, going to stop by for a dynasty on the way. Probably wants to get out the Imperial officials before that dynasty finishes. Keep in mind that the Imperial officials are not reduced in training time like the villagers are by hitting this dynasty. So when he hits this dynasty, essentially his villagers are going to be 13 seconds, Imperial officials are 20, so you're going to be losing 7 seconds if you train an Imperial official after you've hit that dynasty. So that is always something to consider before you do look to go up. But obviously, I mean, at the same time, you've got to make sure that you're using your Imperial officials efficiently. And in this situation, you can see that his villagers are really only optimized toward, or really only prioritized towards gold and towards food. So it will mean 1 Imperial official out here, and you can watch what's going to happen. Boom. I saw it coming a mile away. So the reason why it's got 20 tax. So now it's going to go, hand this off, and now it's just going to walk over some weird direction. Grab the 2 tax from over at the lumber camp. Looks like he's picked up on it. Oh my fucking god, dude. Oh my god, it infuriates me. Poor Beastie, dude. Oh, walling up the middle relics, very nice from Beastie. Age up time about 8 minutes 40, so a nice age up time there from his opponent. Gonna have the double scouts in here. He's looking to try and pull them out. You can see the villager trying to get in here. Scouts doing a great job of blocking. Imperial officials still not up here, dude. Still not supervising this mining camp. Oh man, I would be pulling my hair out right now if I'm Beastie. It's so infuriating. So there is a way to stop it from doing that. If you hit this button here, automatic tax collection. Hopefully he's realized now, or is it just going to keep collecting? Oh my god. Oh god. I hate it. I can't stand it. Okay. We're going to take a look over at the base of his opponent, Kelazur, who is going to be looking to secure those relics. We can see the first one did try and get walled up by Beastie. No prelate coming out just yet to secure these relics. When we take a look at the relics, you can see towards the north of the map, there's a relic up here. One of the relics already been taken up towards that northern position. Second relic is in the middle of the map, 3rd relic up here, and there is another safe relic that is going to get picked up down here by Kelazor. So he's happy with only 3 relics. That is all he needs to secure. Going to be looking to get knights out now, so this is going to be absolutely a difficult point for his opponent. So Beastie, typically in this situation, would look to be dropping down the clock, the astronomical clock tower, and look to get out Springwoods. But as I mentioned, this is where the timing window hits, because his opponent has managed to get up to the castle age, managed to secure up all of the relics, so he's got 3 relics, and as I mentioned, that's all he wants. He wants 3 relics. If he can get 4 and 5 relics, so be it. But for Beastie, he's walled up this one to the north. There's this other one that's, close to his base. He's not worried about those relics, because he's got number 1 down here, number 2 in the middle of the map, and number 3, which I think spawned about here. Actually, I'm sure we can probably find it if we look hard enough. Maybe there. Oh, there it is. There's the little wagon. You can tell that's where it spawned. So all of the relics spawn with this little wagon. Let's take a look here. Yeah, there you can see. Beastie now hitting the 3rd age, going up with the astronomical clock tower, and has it within the range of his Imperial Academy as well. So very nice from him. Still sitting on 2 Imperial tax collectors. I'm curious what we're going to see from Beastie now that he's hit the 3rd age. Going to be walling up the front of his base, also walling the sides, so looking to secure himself. Obviously saw that there was a knight that came out from his opponent, so very cognizant of the potential damage that could do if it gets into his wood line, if it gets onto his gold mine, and that is obviously a huge threat. So one of the reasons why I was talking a bit earlier about why I was getting frustrated with the Imperial official, you got to consider this, right? There's 8 villagers dropping this off. They're dropping off 15 gold. That means for every drop off, you're missing out on 3 gold potentially that this Imperial official could be supervising with. In addition to that, typically on this map, you want to try and stay in your base for as long as possible as China, and you kind of need every little bit of gold that you can get. Kelazor now reaching the Imperial age, 11 minutes. Fast Imperial is not to be messed with, and this is what I was talking about when it comes to China versus Holy Roman Empire. So this strategy really plays into the hands of the Holy Roman Empire. It's so difficult for China to stop this. They basically get up to the Imperial age, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And now that he's in the Imperial age, he's on the equivalent of a 5-town center boom. This is something I talk about every time we see the Palace of Swabia coming out. This landmark, not only is it cheaper, so it acts as a town center, reducing the cost of villages by 75%. So they only cost 12 food instead of 50, and on top of that, producing them in 5 seconds instead of 20 seconds. So a really great spot for Kelazor. He's going to be able to catch up very quickly in villager count. We'll take a look at the villager count, 42 over to 62, but very quickly he's going to be able to come back up because Beastie at the moment sits on 2 town centers. Keep in mind he does have that dynasty there, so essentially it is a 3 town center boom for him. Because of the dynasty, it is going to reduce the train time of those villagers as well by 35%, so it adds up to the equivalent of 3 town centers. Technically, I think it's 3.09 town centers is what it adds up to, but now those knights going to be able to come out onto the field, begin to control up the majority of the landmass out here. You can see that there was a couple of deer carcasses that remain out. Sacred sites also getting captured up, and Holy Roman Empire looking incredibly strong in this early game. This is Kelazor's basically, like, everything has gone to plan at this point. So I'm curious to see what Beastie can actually do to stop this, because from Kelazor's perspective, he's super happy. He's going to continue. You can see he's catching up on the villager count, up to 52 villagers now. The longer this game goes on, he's going to be more and more happy. 67 villagers at the moment for Beastie. Slowly but steadily, that lead is going to be reduced. Adding in a lot of farms now, so we'll take a look and see whether he's got that upgrade. He's getting it now, horticulture coming in. So good timing on this. And I'm curious what Beastie's actually going to be able to do, because I mentioned earlier, okay, this completely plays into his opponent's hand. This is exactly what his opponent wants him to do. He wants to be able to take full control of the map, secure up all of the sacred sites. So you can see down towards the south here, this prelate actually making a bit of a mistake. Going to be heading back and looking to secure the majority of the map. Actually, is there a 3rd sacred site? There is. It's down here. That is very conveniently placed for our prelate. Now Scout going to be scouting out up towards the north. It looks like a palisade wall is going to be under siege as well. And so I'm really thinking, from Beastie's perspective, what is it that he's going to be looking to achieve here? Because Hillendale, obviously, it's a map where, you wall up and you try and take a beautiful job right there. The monk managing to come in, look at the prelate trying its best to, hey, you come back here, my friend. That was mine. Actually, it's German. Das ist mein Relic. That's probably how it goes. Sorry, I put on my German accent, and it kind of sounds a little bit like it sounds like a Hitler impersonation. It's not. I don't know what the guy sounds like, but I'm very angry when I say it, as I'm sure all Germans are when they say anything. German's one of those languages. It's kind of a bit like Arabic. If you've ever heard them speaking, it sounds like they're cursing at each other, but they're just asking each other what they want for breakfast. It's a funny language. We can make fun of German on this channel. I have no problem doing that. Kelazor stacking up a lot of resources, not having a lot of wood at this point. Arkin Chapel has been... look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I feel like it's a big misplace going for this. Take a look how much gold has come out of this. I'm going to assume less than 1,000 gold. Oh, that's actually a lot more than I thought. 2,400 gold coming out of that. But look at the wood. think about, like, you could be buffing up 39 villages with this Archon Chapel. If this Archon Chapel had been right where that market is, you could be taking this entire tree line right now. But instead, you're just sitting here and, like, buffing up a market. And, yeah, it just doesn't feel good. I think Woodline is definitely the right play to go, especially, you know, one of the big things to consider, you're playing on Hill and Dale. It's a closed-off map. You're going to be very defensive in your gameplay style. In addition to that, you're going to be looking to secure the relics. You're going to have the Regnitz Cathedral out before your enemy. You're not playing against the Rus, who age up at 8 minutes. You know, you're playing against China, which is going to take their time aging up. You're going to have the priority when it comes to this, so you're not going to need a lot of gold. And, you know, if worse comes to worse, you can just get a Prelate out and buff those up. The Prelate can buff up to 10 villages at a time, and you're going to need that second Prelate out anyways, because you're going to start capturing those sacred sites, or rather capturing those relics as you head into the transition. So it makes a lot of sense to just prioritize the wood line over the gold mine. So a little bit of a mistake there from Kelazor. That is definitely, at least in my opinion, that is how I think about it. Scout's going to continue coming back. We see a couple of melee units getting made for Beastie. We'll take a look and see his upgrades. He's got double blacksmith in. He's got +2 attack. Decarbonization going to be coming in for him. Has the +1. Yet to get insulated helm just yet, but Landsknecht going to be coming out onto the field with the Holy Roman Empire. They're incredibly powerful against these units, primarily just because of the way that they do their area of effect damage. Look how well that they deal the damage out here. For anybody wondering the way that it works, so they do 100% damage to the unit that they're attacking, obviously. They also do 100% damage to the 2 adjacent units. Nest of Bees coming out onto the front line saying, see you later with your dirty yellow pants. Get out of here. Get out of here. So they do 100% damage to the immediately adjacent units, and then they do 66 damage to the unit behind that, and then I think it's 33 damage to the diagonal units behind the initial unit that is struck. But essentially they're doing damage to 6 units. So you've got to be really careful of them, especially if they mix them in with men-at-arms. You've got to try and focus them down. You can see they've got a lot less health than the men-at-arms, almost half the amount of health, but you can see just the attack. It says 17, and you might think, oh yeah, 17, that's real close to 14, but in reality, it is not. It is much greater than that, just because they are doing AoE damage, and that's really, you know, if you've ever played an MMO, you'll know the power of those AoE mages, and that's really where that power comes in. So Beastie now going to be moving out onto the map. We can actually see he's got villagers coming out, and he's identified that these 2 sacred sites are next to each other. So he's brought out a whole bunch of villagers here. He's got 4 Nest of Bees out as well. Now keep in mind, this is something that we've talked about. As the Springald has gotten nerfed, that means that people aren't making the Springald as a default unit now. It means that there's a window for you to actually make Nest of Bees and Mangonels, which then puts the onus back on your opponent and says, well, hey, if you want to counter these, you're going to have to make Springalds. So sort of, you know, there's a window that opens there for the player who is looking to make those Nest of Bees or Mangonels. Bombard's going to be coming out, though, for Kelazor here, so he's going to be looking down towards that south side. He knows the castle is going to be going up. Looks like the Sacred Site's going to be secured here, or rather neutralized for Beastie, so he's going to be very happy with himself. But now you can see Burning Oil getting researched, 3,000 wood in the bank, and Kelazor looking to continue chopping down wood. Yet to really add a lot of infrastructure here. Actually, I'll take it back. That's a lot of infrastructure. But 3k wood is an awful lot, so he's going to have to re-macro very shortly. Plenty of bombards out here as well. Has he added in a monastery just yet? I want to see. I don't think he's managed to secure up. I think these relics have probably both gone over to his opponent. We've got 1 relic. I see 3 relics in this one. I don't actually see another monastery. I might be blind here. I am legally blind. Not really. That's a meme from like 2007. You guys ever see that? It was a YouTube video. The woman, she's like, I'm legally blind. There's someone, she's like, how can I drive the getaway car? I'm legally blind. It was a great meme back in the day. I don't know if it's actually appropriate, the meme now, but, you know, back in 2007, you could say anything. You know, that was the Wild West of the internet. But Beastie now getting up a pretty nice wall, doing a bit of a mistake and leaving the most important part open, when that probably should have been his priority to get that down. Also going to have an outpost going up behind just to provide that generalized line of sight. And look at those bombards just hitting at the wall like it's just, you know, they're hot knives. This is butter right here. That wall going down in 2 volleys, and BC like, oh, geez, that is awkward, my friends. Plenty of units coming in here now. Obviously, the boiling oil has been researched. If he spots that there is boiling oil here, he needs to fall back straight away. He does indeed. Bombard's going to be coming in. 4 bombards, by the way. Beastie's still sitting in age 3. What is his response to this? Because as I mentioned, this is exactly where Holy Roman Empire wants to win. The only way Beastie actually wins this game is, in my opinion, if Kelazor misplays. I really think that the tempo is within the pocket of his opponent at this point. The castle goes down. These two sacred sites are going to get recaptured. A lot of resources invested down here, both in the walls as well as in that castle. Going to be losing up these sacred sites as well. We see a second castle going to be thrown down here from Beastie, but you really got to ask the question, why though? Like, you know that today's all about memes. You know that little guy, he's like, I don't know, it's the painting from the olden times. Nesta B is going to get some decent shots off here. Getting some really good shots, actually. Doing a great job there. They want to be firing into the pack of units, and they're managing to do it. This is going to be, yeah, not long for the world. Why, though, is the question. Now, coming over, building a second castle over here towards the middle of the map. We've also got what appears to be more units coming down. Beastie hitting the Imperial Age. Going to be going up with the Spirit Way. I can only imagine. Let's see if we can spot it. Spirit Way, where are you? There you are. The Spirit Way going to be coming up, so maybe we'll see some Fire Lancers, but another keep going to be coming down. Really, I got to wonder, what's Beastie doing? Is he just trying to delay his enemy at this point? Actually cancels the keep. Oh, he's so cheeky. He's so cheeky, that Beastie. So puts the keep up, probably expecting his opponent would spot that, and then subsequently cancels, heads over to the other side. It is the ultimate bait and switch, and I gotta say, I really love it. Very, very smart play. Kalazor now going to be looking to secure this sacred site on the south side. Probably going to be wanting to take this north sacred site as well. At least northern of the two western sacred sites, but now putting a keep on the middle sacred site as well. And it's very curious how they've spawned like this, how you've got the two in the same area. Normally you'd have, like, you know, one up here, one down here, you know, on the opposite side, but it's the map gen was just like, you know what, we're just going to put two. Walling in again. This is, can I just compliment Beastie on one thing that he really does well? He re-walls all the time. Whenever his walls, like, get gone through, get broken, he just re-walls it. He's so quick to re-wall as well. So really nice job from him. Beautiful formation coming out here from Kalazor as well. Starting to pull ahead and score. Sitting up about 1k at this point. 115 villagers. He's done a great job to get ahead in the economy. Actually, Beastie on 133 at the moment, so I take that back. Not going to be ahead on the economy at all. So Beastie with a greater economy here. 2 town centers. I can't see if there's a third town center up for him. I don't think so. He's just been sitting in the Song dynasty for the entire time. It doesn't look like a huge amount of line of sight is up, so I don't think he's entered the... Yeah, we can see he's still in the Song. I take that back. So no Yuan dynasty for him at this stage. And now we see Kalazor just going to be melting through these walls. A little bit of a... I don't know if I wouldn't necessarily say it's a mistake, but it can be difficult trying to micro your bombards because they've got a minimum attack range on them. And so subsequently it can be kind of annoying. So you can see right here, like he might have misclicked or something like that, the way that they move up and fire. And then there's like difficulties with the line of sight. Mangonel's getting it on the action as well. Going to be capturing up this sacred site, but Kalazor looking very strong. He's sitting at max population. Beastie also sitting at max population, so managing to survive until the late game. But keep in mind, when it comes to these two guys, so you got Beast or Kalazor who sits right now on 7 bombards, but at the same time, Beastie's bombards are absolutely... I'm trying to think of a B word. Beastie? Like, they're absolutely bonkers. There you go. They're absolutely bonkers. Elite Men-at-Arms coming in here, fighting off with a wolf. The wolf going to be trying his best to take these down. Villager's going to turn around, realize that there's not much chance of them surviving that engagement. Sacred sites have now been completely taken as the mass from Kalazor begins to move across the map, heading towards this central point. And Beastie now, with a lot of Palace Guards out, let's take a look at what his composition is actually running here. So he's got a whole bunch of Springalds and Nesta Bees out. Do we have... I'm curious to know whether Beastie's actually got a university. Let's have a look. He does have the university. No pyrotechnics just yet, but he does have it in queue. So for anybody wondering, the pyrotechnics is going to be increasing the range of all of his gunpowder units. Now, one of the gunpowder units in this game, obviously, it's the Nesta Bees. So that'll go from 8 tile range up to 9.6. So basically almost the same range as a bombard. Now, do note that in addition to China also getting pyrotechnics, which we just talked about, which increases the range of the bombard, they also get free chemistry. So you can see that there's a missing icon right here. There was one that was researched there, a unique Chinese tech, another unique Chinese tech down here, the pyrotechnics, but their bombard, or rather their chemistry technology comes in for free. And so that's quite an expensive technology. If we take a look over at the university of his opponent, so chemistry is 1,000 resources, including 700 gold. And so that comes in for free. So you can see the 170 damage right there for this bombard from Kalazor, whereas 204 damage for his opponent's bombard. So that is the chemistry difference coming in right there. And it's looking right now like Kalazor doesn't really know what he wants to do. He is beginning to secure up the majority of the sacred sites. You can see that he's putting down a stone wall a bit very, very slowly, and a single monk going to be coming in and looking to neutralize this. Going to have a bit of a tough time against the keep, that is for sure. But Beastie now looking to secure up the rest of the map, going to be slowly walling himself out. And I love the way that Beastie's playing, very methodical. So slowly walling up areas of the map and slowly looking to secure it, you know, one by one is essentially the way that he's playing it. He says, okay, I'm going to wall this up, and then I'm going to move forward. I'm going to wall this up, then I'm going to move forward. And very slow, very methodically, he's able to push out, and he's able to prevent sort of these flanks coming through. Keep going to be in a bit of a tough spot here. The units are going to move under. They will get boiled with their oil, so they've got to be careful here. A lot of bombards, a couple mangonels in the mix as well, so going to be very strong against those units. And now Beastie looking to put up a keep with a single villager as the workers of his enemy actually say, hold on a minute, that's not happening on my block, mate. But reinforcements are coming in for Beastie now, and plenty of units for Kelazor. Going to be heading up towards the north. Is this a nice little distractive play from Beastie? So you can see that Kelazor is heading up there. Beastie doesn't have line of sight of this, but I can only imagine that he is thinking, okay, well, what we're going to do, we're going to put this keep up here, and then we're going to push out towards the sacred site. We know that the sacred sites are on a timer. We don't know exactly how long it's going to be, but as soon as I see this and I'm Beastie, I'm like, all right, bam, go straight for the middle. Bam, go straight for the middle. That's exactly what he does. Not a lot of resources in the bank for Beastie at this point. Going to be dropping down a castle on the sacred site as well. So he's going to be able to push through this sacred site very, very quickly. We know that there is a keep up on it. Actually, double keep on it. He's got to be careful here. You see those pyrotechnic bombards coming out. Such a long range on them as well. 12 range tile. That keep goes down so quickly. There's no way these villagers are going to be able to heal it up. Culverin actually going to be coming out here as well. Now, keep in mind, Culverin do counter these bombard units if he doesn't pay attention. You can see that they've got 12 range, 285 damage towards them. But keep in mind, the clockwork bombards have got a lot of health points. We've got the roller shutter triggers here as well from the Springalds. They're going to be dealing very effectively with the Culverin here. Sacred site going to slowly get neutralized. Both of these keeps do go down. Beastie looking to continue walling up as well. All of these villagers, did they survive? I'm curious where those villagers went. I think they might have just gone for a little bit of a walk and continuing to wall in. Beastie having a great time here. Sacred site is going to get neutralized. I take it back. The neutralizing of the sacred site is going to get neutralized. So another day continues on for Kelazor. Now keep in mind, down towards the south, he has managed to shore up this position. So both players looking to continue walling, and this is 100% the way you got to play this. By moving these walls out here, you force your enemy to bring bombards, and so subsequently it means, you know, if they want to bring bombards, well, now they're bringing all of their bombards, and that's the difficult spot. So, you know, Kelazor very easily could have left 2 bombards, you know, over here to go and push this this castle in and to potentially secure this, but subsequently he sent his whole army, and as a result, he loses 2 castles in the middle. He loses, you know, he almost lost the sacred site, but I think Beastie is still working on it. He's taking his time. Bombard's now going to continue to come out for Beastie. He's got a lot of villagers. He's actually deleted a fair few of them, or probably just lost them in this engagement up towards the north. Looks like he's going to be dropping down an outpost of his own, so very cheeky there from Beastie. Plenty of stone in the bank for him as well, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple more castles going to be coming out. And now we see the engagement beginning as the Lanchknecht and Men-at-Arms look to make contact with their enemy units, doing a great job on the back line. We've got the Nesta Bees firing off as the Bombards look to go mono-a-mono with the Bombards firing over this sacred site. We see the Nesta Bees actually having a bit of a tough time dealing with the Men-at-Arms as they manage to get onto the Bombards. A lot of health on these bad boys, but they manage to slice through them like a hot knife through butter. That's the second time I've mentioned that in the game right now. Drongo, you've got to be careful. You say the same things too many times, my friend, and people don't like that. Bombard's having a difficult time now, but managing to survive, and I'm pretty impressed with this siege composition from Beastie as he manages to hold on. So the Springalds actually looking pretty strong in this situation. I wouldn't be surprised to see some Culverin coming out here. There's the next Culverin coming in. Another keep going to be going up. It looks like it does get cancelled. He knows that he's probably going to be losing it. The 12 range Bombards are just too damn strong, and Beastie has managed to hold on. So really, you know, earlier in the game I talked about this. I asked the question, how is Beastie going to be able to beat his opponent when his opponent's game plan is to essentially take advantage of the Chinese playstyle? And it looks like Beastie has just held on. He's just sort of waited. He's sat in his base, he's put up his walls, he said, all right, you do your thing, I'm going to do mine, and he's managed to stay alive right there for his opponent, or before his opponent's able to really push in. Nesta B is doing a great job here. Keep going to be going down. It looks like Beastie's putting down another keep straight away. Nesta B's firing off into the Men-at-Arms. We see those masses right there. He needs to mix more Lanchknecht in. I really feel like there's a lack of Lanchknecht. Men-at-Arms really need to get in on top of all of these units. They need to avoid fighting the Palace Guards. Just siege all of these down. It's really what the focus should be. Bombards probably need to be moving towards the back and just focusing down the defensive buildings here, because you can see the Springles are having an absolute field day out here. Culverin focusing down the keeps. Not a great time for Kelazor, and this is where Beastie is going to start shining. For anybody unfamiliar with Beastie, he's got a StarCraft 2 background, the same as Kelazor, but his prowess is in the late game when it comes to these microing fights. You can see he's got villagers out here on the front line, 7 villagers, going to be healing up these units as well. So he really knows what it comes to when it's about prioritizing what your units are attacking, and subsequently that is where his strength lies. That Sacred Site now going to be finally turning over a different color, so no longer going to be red. And more units up towards the north. Beastie getting under attack by this wolf once again. We've got multiple walls coming up, so a nice little wall in here from Kelazor, doing a good job of forcing Beastie to stay back here. We'll check and see whether Kelazor realizes that a gate actually going to be coming up here, so very nice of him. And this Sacred Site going to be going down, so that Sacred Site victory is going to be over. No more Sacred Site victory potential, at least for the moment. You'll have to wait until the next capture. But now Kelazor in a difficult spot. Beastie QT beginning to pull ahead in score as well at this point. Now managing to secure up this stone outcropping, but there's not a lot of stone left on it, and we can see the Men-at-Arms ready to go through this gate slowly being made. I think Beastie's realized he sees the units on the other side because he's got the outposts up there, and he knows he's going to have to fall back from this position, but obviously having a bit of a tough time. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of wood out here for him, so maybe a good idea is to put down a gate down here. Maybe that's the play. You gate, and then you probably can fit a lumber camp in here, or maybe even look to put a lumber camp in here, maybe even delete the walls or something like that and come out, but then that way you've got a less exposed front. It's going to be very difficult for your enemy to get through here. Keep in mind that in Age of Empires 4, there's no petards. There's no sort of land unit that's going to be able to get through this other than a bombard. A bombard, a trebuchet, that's the only thing that's going to be able to get through them. So subsequently, it's important that realistically, you know, it just makes it so difficult to get through this sort of thing. You know, you can... Oh, I take it all back. I take it all back. It looks like... You know what? The best part, it's not even going to work. It's not going to work. Oh, that's absolutely hilarious by Beastie to do that. I don't know if he did that intentionally. So he's put down a siege tower up here towards the north. I know that we got fighting all over the map, but I just want to talk about this. So he's actually put the gate in reverse. So his enemy is able to get up on top of the wall, but he's not able to get behind the wall. You watch these units, they're not going to be able to get onto the other side because the gate is on this side, which means the backward stairs actually go down right here. And you can see that he's just going to pop out these... Super big brain move there from Beastie. I don't know if that was intentional, but if it was, that is absolutely such a hilarious play, and I love it from Beastie. Just that is so many IQ points. I can't even fathom how many IQ points he needs to think of something like that. I really hope that that was intentional, because if that was, that's so freaking funny, dude. He just has to delete the siege tower. He's like, well, you're freaking useless, aren't you? And now he needs to get, you know, battering rams up here. It's going to take time for him to get through that. Oh, that is absolutely hilarious. So many men-at-arms now coming out as well for Kelazor at this point. But keep in mind, if there's nest of bees on the field, they're going to be able to deal with it pretty effectively. Hand cannoneers coming out as well. I tell you what, if there's ever been a fight that looks like Kelazor might actually take it, then it's definitely going to be this one. We see the men-at-arms beginning to surround the keep, or rather the units outside the keep. A lot of units underneath here. This keep needs to go down before the men-at-arms get underneath it. Otherwise, they will die to the burning oil. Culverin on the back line going to have a difficult time firing against those clock tower, the clock tower Springlords. I think it's going to take 2 shots for them to get through. Boiling oil now going to be coming out as well. We see that boiling oil beginning to pour onto the enemies. Going to have a difficult time here. All the bombards have gone down, so a little bit of a tough angle. Ideally wanted to bring his bombards onto this point here and then leave his Culverin and Springlords up on this point, beginning to trade off. So that way he's got almost a little bit of cover here from the stone walls, but obviously, you know, it's easy to say that from hindsight, isn't it, Drongo? Now we've got the keep up towards the north, and I tell you what, these matches, you know, they start off slow, but once they get going, they really get going, don't they? And it's absolutely beautiful to see Beastie somehow managing to win this. Obviously, China is in the zone when it comes to this point in the game. The one thing for China is securing up gold. Keep in mind that the China player, obviously, Beastie had the large gold in his base here. He had another gold mine, I think, somewhere towards the back here. Then he had another one towards the front. But now he's managed to secure up this gold. He's got the Imperial official on it as well. So basically, take that 8,000 gold, bump that number up. That's now worth 8,000, or rather 9,600 gold is what that really is. And now Regnitz Cathedral going to be going down here. So a little bit of a misplacement I guess realistically, it's hard to, you know, calculate and carry the one. You know, I'm picturing that meme with the lady, and she's got all those thoughts going through her head. She's trying to do the math, and, you know, it's a bit difficult to realize, you know, should I be placing this right on the edge where the bombards could potentially push it? But I think that's going to be the least of his worries, is now the Ark and Chapel going to be going down as well, and it really looks like Beastie might be coming in for the kill at this point. Now, towards the north of the map, we do have these continued units. A couple of villages. I got no idea what they were doing. Actually, I know exactly what they were doing. They were burning down a battering ram. There was a battering ram out here, and it looks like it got burned down. So very, very nice from Beastie to realize that. I wonder how many villages he pulled to deal with that. Probably about 15, I'd say. A good amount of villages. How much do villagers do for torch damage in the late game? Is there any way to know? I don't think so. Beastie now going to be healing up the Stonewall Gate. And you can see, this is part of the reason why it's just so impossible to push this position unless you get a bombard up there. But, you know, it's so much work to do that. Springal's actually on the top, got a nice line of sight advantage over the clock tower bombards. But you can see how much of a difficult time they've got. 864 health on those. One of the things I would love to see from Beastie is a moving into the next dynasty. So he's sitting at the moment in the Song dynasty. I'd love to see him go up to the Yuan dynasty and then potentially even into the Ming dynasty. It's going to help him out a lot. There was a unique technology that he unlocked a little bit earlier, and basically it increases the amount that your villagers drop off. So you can see that the villagers here drop off. It looks like it's only 18 at the moment, so it's not... actually, does that even affect... It might not even give any effect with only the first level of dynasty. So you might need to hit the second one. I think it's an 8% increase. So yeah, ideally for him... Oh my god, that's a lot of villagers right there. How did Beastie get an outpost up here? There's an outpost sitting on this top shelf. What the heck? Top shelf? Top cliff face? Oh, nest of bees, nest of bees, nest of bees! Gonna get an awesome volley up onto here. Springald's actually gonna be able to take it out despite the weird elevation issues that we've got here. This is a massive cliff. I wouldn't think any units would be able to fire up or down that, but I guess I've been proven wrong. Men-at-Arms looking to try and get themselves a little bit of a value over here. Gold mine here. We've still got plenty of gold on it, so Beastie not even really paying attention to that side of the map. Still a mining camp over here for his opponent, Kelazur, so really yet to deal with that. And now we've got a significant mass down towards the south as Beastie looks to really finish up this composition with hand cannoneers. Now, one of the things to note is hand cannoneers were nerfed in the most, I would say the most recent patch. It wasn't, because technically it was the Springald patch that was the most recent, but the one before that, there was a whole bunch of balance changes, and one of them was a hand cannoneer nerf, and so they reduced the hand cannoneer from 50 damage down to 35 damage. At least I think it was. It might actually, I think it might be 42 damage down to 35, but anyway, he's got chemistry, which increases the damage up to 42, so they're still looking pretty good, pretty strong. And keep in mind the Chinese hand cannoneers also have an increased range, so 4.8 tiles instead of 4 tiles. So now Beastie going to be taking out this spearman, or rather using that spearman to take it out. Regnitz Cathedral going to be going down once again, doing a great job and really just playing a very toxic playstyle with these walls. But keep in mind, this toxic playstyle, in my opinion, if you want to win as China, this is almost a necessity in the late game to win. You got to control area, and this is how you do it. You got to use these walls as effective as Beastie is using them, and this is really what makes the difference between the good China players and the great China players. I'm curious to see whether he's going to be heading towards that dynasty. He's in a position, honestly, so for anybody wondering, he wants to be hitting these dynasties, so obviously he gets an economic boost out of it, so his villagers are going to be dropping off more resources because of that unique tech. But in addition to that, there's also militaristic boosts that can be applied. So first and foremost, you've got a speed boost that can be provided through the Yuan dynasty, or you can go for the health bonus, which is provided through the Ming dynasty, and of course, unlock those ever so great grenadiers. Honestly, you get to grenadiers, that's like that is a win condition in itself. Those grenadiers are so damn strong. Did I just hear? I swear I just heard relics getting picked up. You did hear that, the relics getting picked up there, but I'm curious as to where they actually are, because I think we only saw one relic inside Beastie's monastery. We did that. There's a fourth relic somewhere out here. We see 3 on our screen at the moment. I don't know where that fourth relic is. Maybe if I press spacebar, is that going to tell us where it is? Nope. I'm not sure exactly where it is, so who knows? Who knows? It's hiding away. Towards the north, we've got a battering ram that's going to begin going down here. Tell you what, that is a lot of men-at-arms. Look at the hand cannoneers actually looking to get into the wood line and do a bit of damage here. Beastie going to be spotting that one, so I wouldn't be surprised to see if Beastie puts up a castle right here just to begin firing over. Does he have the resources for it? He doesn't. He actually takes control of all 3 sacred sites at this point in time, and his opponent now getting up on top of these walls and looking to get on top. And Beastie once again doing the very cheeky reverse gate. I do like this play from him. It's going to force his enemy to not be able to take take this ground unless he actually gets over on top of the walls or through the walls, because the siege tower isn't going to be particularly effective there. Beastie continuing to wall up the middle, actually reverting to wooden walls here. Going to continue pushing in at this angle, and so annoying to deal with. The Regnitz Cathedral just going down once again. Look at that men-at-arm army beginning. 61 men-at-arms here. A lot of men-at-arms, and is Beastie just running out right now? I'd just love to see him like throw down a wall on that angle, but villagers, hey, you guys came to the wrong neighborhood. You guys came to the wrong neighborhood at this point. Now back towards the south of the map, we've got more units looking to neutralize these sacred sites. Beastie with a lot of units in here as well, and he's holding on for dear life, but keep in mind, he's just going to keep punishing his enemy here, so putting down more and more of these villagers, just continuing to heal up. Kelazor at the moment, you can see just how few resources he's got, and he can't relocate this Regnitz Cathedral. It's his only gold source at the moment. He's got no other gold source out on the map. Beastie has completely walled him in. A very toxic playstyle, but at the same time, this is one of those necessary things when it comes to these maps. This is just the way that it works, unfortunately. All these men-at-arms going to be able to get in on top of these clockwork nest of bees, so they're going to have to try and fall back. You can see they're running back with their extra movement speed. They've got 1.12. I don't think they can garrison inside, but they are going to be able to take shelter. Boiling Oil does come out, and he actually manages to fall back. So Nest of Bees getting out some decent trades there and being able to take out a lot of men-at-arms. Now they're going to continue to siege down the first keep that's here. Majority of the army for Beastie is heading back towards the center of the map. And I tell you what, this is an absolutely ludicrous game, but I feel like Kelazor is falling further and further behind. I really feel like he needed to mix in Lench Connects, and it's just sort of been a lack of... look, I don't want to offend Kelazor. I think he's an absolutely good player, but there are a couple of times where I think his micro could have been a little bit better in those artillery fights or those siege fights. And now we see Beastie looking to get in onto his opponent. A lot of units coming out. We see the Nest of Bees looking to actually close the distance here. This could be bad for Kelazor. He's completely walled in. His bombards are slowly breaking through that back wall, but he's not in a position to be able to evacuate. Still going to need one more shot, and we can actually see the majority of the army going to be going down for Kelazor. He's sitting down on 148 military, or population rather, at this point in time. Still got 59 military population somewhere, but you got to start asking the question, where is it? Regnitz Cathedral now finally coming up, slowly working his way back towards it. We'll show you income per minute just so you can see how far ahead Beastie is sitting at the moment. 2,400 gold a minute at the moment. Do we have... Yes, we do have the roller shutter trigger upgrade for these, but he'd have to get them in a very weird spot. You have to kind of put them on the edge here, but now we can see the bombards coming back in for round 73 as Kelazor knuckles down once again, or battens down the hatches, and he said, oh my gosh, not these guys again. Bombard's actually going to be under a bit of strife here, as enemy bombards as well as the Springles are going to begin taking them out. But you can see the power of the Chinese bombards as they manage to tee off towards their opponents on the high ground here, and this is what makes them so strong. They actually have the exact same range as Culverins and as improved Springles. There's only 2 Springles in the game that will actually beat them, the Rus Springles and the Mongol Springles. That is it. Otherwise, it's a very difficult spot, in my opinion. Oh, I've just changed our colors around. There we go. I managed to get them back. But in my opinion, the Chinese bombard needs to be nerfed. It is too strong in the late game. It is a total win condition. And if you can manage to get to the late game at an even position, I think that China is almost always going to win here. And now, obviously, in the early game here, we talked about Kelazor. We talked about his chances of winning. There was a timing window for him, but it looks like Beastie's been able to take that timing window, turn it around, and Beastie comes out victorious. Fellas, if you've enjoyed this cast, make sure you check out Lidercore. He's the one who hosted this show match. Make sure you check out these 2 players. I'll leave links in the description over to their channels. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.